What's up, movie nerds and basketball geeks? Welcome back to Movie Ball. Yeah, I'm wearing, for starters, I'm wearing a Knicks jacket, and secondly, that's all I'm wearing. I mean, I have pants on, but I don't have a shirt on underneath, and I don't know, it was a stylistic choice. I thought, that it would be cool, and, I have a feeling that when I am editing this video, going back and watching it, that I'm going to heavily regret this. The NBA season is only 3 weeks away. That's six. The NBA season is only 3 weeks away. So I decided that I am going to do a 4-part video series on the Eastern Conference and Western Conference standings predictions. To all the movie nerds out there, sorry, but thanks if you're watching. Just, your time will come in 4 videos. Maybe less. Maybe I'll do 2 and then I'll go to a movie one, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But this is what's happening right now. I didn't even look at what my hair looked like. I know that I have to shave. It's about that time. I mean, I'm not wearing a fucking shirt. The Knicks. So on today's video, it's going to be numbers 15 through 9. So the teams that don't make the playoffs. And then eventually I'll get to, for the Western Conference as well, what comes after 9? 8 through 1. So, maybe I'll do a math video too so I remember how to count. Movie math ball. I'll leave the door. I didn't leave. I just sat back down. Coming in at last place in the Eastern Conference will be the Charlotte Hornets. Not only will they be the worst team in the Eastern Conference, but the worst team in the league. Is it obvious? They lost their only source of offense in Kemba Walker, and to take it to an even worse level, they lost their second leading scorer in Jeremy Lamb. They're screwed. Terry Rozier was brought in from the sign-in trade. He was overpaid to compensate for their lack of scoring. He's going to average about 16 or 17 points on extremely inefficient shooting splits. I'm talking something like 38% from the field, 32% from 3. The other big acquisition for Charlotte was drafting PJ Washington, who will have a lot of chances to develop his game with such an empty roster. I mean, the best player on the team is Nicholas Batum, and he hasn't been good for like 3 seasons, so that tells you what this roster is looking like. Here's my projected rotation. At this point, it makes virtually no sense to give the better veteran players starters minutes. There's a heap of young guys who they should just throw out there so they can gain experience and learn. This means, although I think Nicholas Batum and Marvin Williams will probably both start, that they shouldn't. They can provide leadership and a good veteran presence for the younger guys until they're hopefully traded to contenders at the All-Star break. So here's the good. The Hornets have a lot of young talent that all have potential. Even if they don't all pan out, it's a great time to figure it out and rebuild. The bad, they're not good. It doesn't matter, okay? They're a very bad team. Even if Malik Monk and Miles Bridges take that next step, which they both could, it's not enough to prevent this team from struggling to win 15 games. Finishing in 14th, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are a lot like the Hornets in that they won't be good. But the Cavs have a lot more experienced players, which will help them be a little bit better than Charlotte. Kevin Love is definitely going to get traded. I don't know how he hasn't been yet. It makes no sense for either party to want to associate with each other at this point. Love is just going to help them win games, and he doesn't fit with the young way they're trying to go. They're trying to rebuild. He doesn't want to be a part of some bottom-of-the-barrel team at this point in his career. He could still contribute to a contender or something like that. Just get him off the team. The main focus of the team will be the backcourt of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. Sexton had a pretty decent rookie campaign, averaging 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists on pretty inefficient shooting, but that's expected for a rookie. Will the addition of Darius Garland hinder Colin Sexton's improvement to take that next step? Or will it not even matter because will Darius Garland just be so good that we won't even care about Sexton? I don't know. It's interesting, but whatever the case, it's definitely not all going to be figured out for them in their first season playing together. I still find it weird as fuck that Cavs veterans said that Colin Sexton didn't even know how to play basketball, but whatever, that was a year ago. Again, a lot like the Hornets, they do have young guys with potential. Dylan Windler is a 4-year college player and could be more mature basketball-wise than we're actually prepared for, and Chetty Osman even has the potential to be a decent wing and good 3-point shooter. So here's the good. Colin Sexton could take a serious step up, averaging something like 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, albeit still with inefficient shooting. Darius Garland was a top 5 pick, and maybe he will really show us why in his first season. And Dylan Windler could be more NBA ready than we think, and he could produce decent numbers with no cemented starting wing for this Cavs team. They also have Kevin Porter, who looks to be a pretty decent NBA player. Players. Here's the bad. They're going to suck. It's the same team as last year, but with more rookies, which helps their future. But again, like Charlotte, it's the same situation. They're just not good this year. Coming in at 13th, I have the Washington Wizards. This is still a shock to me because just a few years ago, they were Eastern Conference contenders. They almost made it. They almost beat the Celtics. But again, another year without John Wall and key losses in players such as Thomas Satoransky, Bobby Portis, and Jabari Parker. The Wizards are going to suck. Bradley Beal is a star. 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists is nothing to scoff at. But unfortunately, if he isn't traded, he's just going to be the Devin Booker of the East. He doesn't have nearly enough help to get over the 30-win mark, in my opinion. Isaiah Thomas is looked at as the next guy, and since he's still injured again, I don't even really know. He hasn't really played in 3 years, and he's looked at as the next guy. I don't see him bringing enough to the table. Even if he somewhat bounces back and averages 15 points and 5 assists or something like that, that's not enough to get the Wizards over the edge, and he'll have to stay healthy all season. The hope then falls on Thomas Bryant and Rui Hachimura. Thomas Bryant could have an even bigger breakout campaign with no real rotation of centers, and Hachimura has the potential to make all-rookie first team. But looking over this roster, I mean, just look at it. There's nothing here. I'm looking at this. Isaiah Thomas, Ish Smith. If Isaiah Thomas misses time, you want Ish Smith to be like, Ish Smith's a good backup, but he is no way going to help this team enough. Their second shooting guard behind Bradley Beal is looking like Jordan McRae. Troy Brown, I've never even heard of this dude. I'm sorry. I know I'm into basketball, but Davis Bertans, he's good, but this is not a good enough squad. But here is the good. Bradley Beal will carry this team to a lot of their wins, and Rui Hachimura looks to be a promising young player. But here's the bad. There are health concerns all around this team. If John Wall was able to play, they would at least be fighting for a playoff spot. But since he's not, their additions aren't enough to make up for their losses, which was already not enough to make them a good team. At number 12, I have the New York Knicks! I'm a Knicks fan. What kind of stupid stuff will I say next? Shut up, okay? I still have them coming in at 12th and barely winning over 30 games. I should put my jacket back on. I'm not going to edit this out. I'm just going to make you watch me putting it back on. Where was I? I'm a Knicks fan. What kind of stupid stuff will I say next? Yeah, so it was a large improvement over their 17 games last year for me to predict that they're going to win 31 games. And I understand that their offseason was disappointing, but they still improved. We didn't get Zion, we didn't get KD, we didn't get Kyrie, but neither did 28 other teams in the league. Yes, the only other team in New York got them, but what I'm saying is we improved. We got Julius Randle, who is an underrated star in my opinion. 20 points and 10 rebounds, and he's going to be the focal point of the offense. We got a top 3 pick in RJ Barrett, who looks to be a promising young player, and we signed a lot of power forwards. I understand that, but it's all good veteran leadership to this young Knicks core. And I'm excited. I haven't been this excited to watch the Knicks since we tried to compete for the 2011 championship in 2016. But it's kind of an issue that we have all of these young players because all of these young players are still trying to figure it out. They're trying to be the guy, and that's a lot of them. Dennis Smith Jr., Kevin Knox, RJ Barrett, obviously. I mean, Mitchell Robinson, he's not probably looking to score all the points, but he wants to show us what he can do. And Frank Ntilikina, I'm kidding. We should have traded him years ago. We should have never drafted him. But the issue still remains that with all of these young players, will they work together or will they hinder each other's performances trying to be the guy and playing selfishly? But under Coach Fizdale and the 16 power forwards they signed, they now have this veteran leadership and good attitude that will keep them focused, keep them hungry, and I'm excited. I'm just excited to watch the Knicks. I think if you're a Knicks fan, although it was a disappointing offseason, like I said, I think that you should be excited. We're the Knicks. We're probably going to screw it all up within the next 4 months, but I'm excited. You should be too. So here's the good. Julius Randle is a potential all-star candidate, and we will be fun to watch for the first time in years. And the bad?
we're bad. It's as simple as that.
Finishing at number 11 in the East, I've got the Orlando Magic. This might be kind of disrespectful in some people's eyes as they finally made the playoffs again last season, but I just don't see them making that much of a significant impact. I feel like most teams got better or improved, and the Magic really didn't get much done, and maybe that's fine because they made the playoffs last season, and after the All-Star break, they were really starting to figure it all out. And I think it's a tight race in the Eastern Conference because that conference is weaker, and with 37 wins, they'll be there, they'll be close, but it just won't be enough. Looking at the depth chart, it's not really an enticing team. Is Markelle Fultz healthy? I never know. And even if he is, could he actually make an impact? He's shown very small flashes, but the majority of what we've seen from him is far worse. Evan Fournier is a serviceable shooting guard that'll get you some points, and Terrence Ross is a good sixth man. Mo Bamba or Vucevic has to be traded. One of them has to go. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Okay, they drafted Bamba to be their guy for the future, so it would make sense if it's Vucevic, but they also just gave Vucevic that contract, so it's like, what do they want to do? And I think that they're giving him that contract so they could trade him eventually because they don't want to lose him for nothing. I mean, that's the smart thing in my eyes. I know Bamba hasn't really shown us his game, that skill that a lot of people were anticipating that he would have, like, immediately, but I don't think anyone really expected Vucevic to take that huge leap and become an all-star. Like, he had, like, I'm telling you, he had Karl Anthony Towns numbers last season. Even if it was a fluke, he played out of his mind. He played very well, but someone's got to be traded, and I think it should be Vucevic because they're nowhere near a championship contender, so they might as well, trade him away, get some good pieces or draft picks, and work towards something else. Aaron Gordon is above average, but I don't know if he'll ever take that next step and be really good. The Magic are just one of the most least exciting teams in the league this year, in my opinion. There's just nothing that enticing about them. Some people have faith in Jonathan Isaac. A lot of people actually seem to believe that this kid could be really good. He's gotten KD comparisons. I don't see it, and I don't see it really at all just because when's the last time the Magic had, like, a good draft pick? I mean, the last time they drafted someone really good was Victor Oladipo, and they traded him away for half a season of Serge Ibaka. Here's the good. They've retained the same integral team that got them to the playoffs last season, but the bad is that it's just not good enough. There's so many teams that want it this year, and the Magic are just a middle-of-the-road squad. In 10th place, I have the Chicago Bulls, finishing just a game better than the Magic. I think the Bulls are set to improve mightily this season. Not only do they have an underrated star in Zach LaVine, they have a future star in Lauri Markkanen, and I think both of them could up their game significantly this year. They have a great 3-and-D player in Otto Porter. They have another possible star in the making in Wendell Carter, who's shown us flashes of what he could do. I think he's going to be a really good player, and we haven't seen Kobe White's game translate to the NBA yet because he obviously hasn't played, but he has the potential to be really good as well. They have so much young talent, and it's like with all of these teams that have these young cores, all the fans of these teams should be excited because even if they don't all pan out, you've got something to look forward to, and especially when you already have a star, an established star in Zach LaVine who's shown us what he can do and what he can become even more so, you should definitely be excited. They're not going to have it all figured out this season, but they're starting to put the pieces together, and that is enough to get you pumped. I'm not sure who exactly they roll with at their starting point guard position. A lot of people seem to have written Chris Dunn off, but I still think he's a more than capable PG. But getting White and Satoransky kind of says that the Bulls are writing him off. But Satoransky can play anywhere from the 1 to the 3, and Thaddeus Young was a great veteran presence for them to pick up, and he's going to help keep these young guys focused. So here's the good. This is a young and hungry team. Zach and Lauri can form a very good duo, and they've got a ton of great role players around them, as well as possible stars. And the bad is that I'm not big on Jim Boylen as a head coach. He hasn't been one long. We'll have to see more of what he can do. I'm not even sure if the players are really that much behind him because I know they had this falling out last year or whatever that happened, but I think they're on his side now. I think it made them closer. Maybe that was his intention. Maybe it just happened. Maybe they hate him. I don't know, but we're going to have to see where it goes. Still, even with him out of the picture, they're a young team. They're going to fumble. They're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. And the last team I have missing the playoffs and finishing as the 9th seed is going to piss some people off. The Miami Heat are just not good enough in my eyes. Listen, okay, when Jimmy Butler had a better team around him when he was in his last year on the Bulls, they barely made the playoffs then. Unless the Heat pull off this rumored trade for Chris Paul, they're not a very good team. Jimmy Butler is 30 years old now, so the likelihood of him being better than when he was the main guy on the Bulls is not very high. I don't see it with this team. There's just a lot of okay role players around Jimmy Butler, and that's not enough to make it to the playoffs. Looking at this roster, it's just a regressed Goran Dragic, a star in Jimmy Butler, and a couple of younger players that have some potential but might not live up to it, and then a bunch of other players that are just like, this is what they are, and they will do you some good, and they will do you a lot of bad. They will be okay, inconsistent. I'm talking about players like Myers Leonard, Kelly Olynyk, and obviously Dion Waiters, who you never really know what you're going to get with this dude. I don't know where they play Justice. He can play anywhere from the 1 to the 4, though, and he could up his game as well, but there aren't many bright spots here. Adebayo will fill that void left by Whiteside accordingly, since they were basically splitting minutes last season anyway, but with a full workload, he will basically put up Whiteside numbers, maybe a little less. So here's the good. Jimmy Butler will carry this team in a season-long fight to make the playoffs. Bam and Justice are both going to improve, and Tyler Hero could be very good even if it's not immediately. The bad is that it's essentially just going to be a one-man show, and there's just not enough support to help Jimmy play past April. I could be wrong. It's going to be close, but at the end of the day, I just see 8 better teams in the Eastern Conference. That's the first part of this 4-part series. I hope you guys enjoyed who I think will not make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. I'm sure you all disagree, but hey, at least we're having fun, right? My shirt's off still. Tune in next time to see who I think makes the playoffs. It will be the second part of the Eastern Conference, 8 through 1, and then I'll have my Western Conference videos out after that at some point. Make sure you smash that like button. I don't know, man. I've made so many analogies at this point about smashing the like button that I don't even know. Just please like the video. I know that I am going to strongly regret my appearance for this video, but I've now shot it, so this is it.